They think under the Mauryan Empire, it may have gotten to about 400,000 people in size. So they do think it may have been one of the largest cities in the world, kind of like Babylon was. We had talked about before Nineveh has large cities. And it was huge in size. I think what I researched, it was about 15 square miles in size, the actual city, or if you want kilometers, 25 square kilometers. And the Greeks actually wrote about it. The Greek historian Arrian said that it had something like 64 gates to the city with 570 towers. So it must have had huge fortifications that were around it at Pataliputra. But now, of course, you can see it's mostly in ruins today. Here's kind of a stupa, which is located, I think, to the same site where the ruins of Pataliputra, which a stupa is like a kind of like a shrine where they keep like the bones of Buddhist monks in it. And you can go in there and meditate, that kind of thing. And so that was kind of constructed there. I think Ashoka the Great built that later, though, at that site. Now, they have another king that came in after Chandragupta Maurya died. That was, of course, Bindusara, who was believed to be his son. He reigned, you can see, from about 297 to 273 BC. They think under Bindusara that they pretty much began to consolidate Chandragupta's empire. And Bindusara also began expanding the empire to the south, like into the southern part of the subcontinent of India, but not too much is known about him. There's a lack of historical sources about Bindusara because I think most sources talk about either Chandragupta, Maurya, or Ashoka the Great, who's, of course, the most famous overall. That's the one I really want to talk about the most, of course, which is Ashoka the Great. You see, the third ruler, of course, and the greatest, of course, of the Mauryan Empire. He ruled, of course, following his father dying, Bindusara. He reigned from 268 to about 232 BC. And they think under him, he kept expanding the empire, which they think he kind of expanded to the east and south to where the Bay of Bengal is at one point. And one thing he did that's very famous, he conquered this area called Kalinga, which is kind of a famous kingdom and people of India that are kind of around where the Bay of Bengal is, to a little bit to the west and south of where Bangladesh is now. And he was involved in a series of bloody wars that they call the Kalinga Wars, which were fought throughout his empire. And some estimates he may have killed in that war like 200,000 people or more in the conquest of that area. It was kind of considered like one of the last conquests of the whole Mauryan Empire. So that's something he's kind of famous for with that. And so under his reign, by that time, the empire starts to get bigger and bigger. Now you can see here in this map here, I think after that conquest, that's kind of what his empire looked at like afterwards. Now the only thing was, apparently, I think that what I've read about Ashoka was that war influenced him religious-wise. One thing that happened that's well known, he converted to Buddhism. And it's something that's very famous. So he's considered like one of the first major Buddhist rulers of India. He not only made it popular in India, parts of India, but he also helped to spread it. So he sent like Buddhist monks, missionaries into different parts of Asia, mostly probably northward, I guess towards Afghanistan, and then like into Tibet and Central Asia.